So we're going to have our first speaker after lunch, and he's going to be talking about user experience. And these days, our user experience is so overloaded. We've got notifications coming here and left and right, and emails dinging, and everything going off. And how can we kind of break down that experience and make it more streamlined for the user? So coming from LifeTramp, I'd like you to give a round of applause to Mariusz Ciesla. Come up here, Mariusz. Good work.
Hello.
Did you want to take a picture, you were saying?
Yes.
He wants to take a selfie.
Yeah, it's a thing. I do selfie with the crowd, so... Hey! Let me just put a camera up.
All right.
Come on, man. You're going to be in the selfie. Hey! And we're done.
Nice. All right. Take it away, champion.
OK, one sec. Now I'm going to try and log into my laptop, which is a thing. Oh, actually, it works. Wow. Anyway. Hi. Everyone, oh, this screen, OK, and this screen. So hi, everyone. This is going to be talk about being useful, which is actually surprisingly hard compared to being usable, which I'm going to talk about as well. So hi, Refresh. I wanted to put something like really funny and witty in Estonian here, because that's like a nice thing to do. But then I kind of listened to Google Translate speaking out the words, and I was like, nope, nope. So I'm really enjoying my stay in Tallinn, though. It's a really beautiful city. One thing, though, is like in the places I stay, user experience-wise, I have this shower thing that goes like up and down. And I don't know how it works, because when I pull it up, the water is warmer. When I put it down, the water is warmer. So it's probably more lava or even more lava. I'm not sure, but it's scary. Like, I was scared. I was scared. So you can follow me here. I'm the guy with the hat, always. That's why I wear a hat. I wear a lot of hats at my job, and like literally a lot of hats. And I'm a designer, I'm a developer, and I co-founded this cool company called LifeTramp, which is basically lets you try a job for a day. That's pretty cool, right? So you can find a mentor and then spend a day and have fun and see if you're a good fit for that job. And this is actually a big problem for a lot of companies. There's cat pictures there, by the way. I asked people to post cat pictures on the hashtag while I'm speaking to distract you a bit because I'm super nervous. So let's start with usability, right? It all started with usability. And usability is presenting information. That's actual quote from actual HCI book from the day. Present information in usable, efficient, and enjoyable manner, right? That's super great. And then somehow we ended with this, right? And this, and this, and this. This is our life. Like, this is an actual video from a blogger, I think football blogger, and that's their Instagram feed. That's their Instagram doing notifications. So yeah, somehow we ended up in this world. Starting with usability for some reason. And this is basically this. Right? Right? And fun fact, Apple emoji are actual bitmaps. They're not fonts. You would expect them to be fonts. They're bitmaps. And when you scale them for your slides, they look super pixelated. So bad Apple. Really bad. Let's get back to the Instagram. This is a quote from Nobody Ever, saying, I sure love to get notified about absolutely everything all the time. The key point here is user engagement. So user engagement is this weird metric that people do for some reason. And investors actually really aim for high user engagement. That means people spend time with your app, which is generally not a good idea. Like, this is becoming a really bad word in user experience, actually, because user engagement is usually trying to force people to use your app with really bad notifications and stuff. GoPro, any of you used GoPro with their app? They just send you notifications about everything. Every blog post comes into your phone as a notification. It's terrible. So let's talk about pillars of good design. Your design should be useful, usable, and delightful. Useful is the first step. Useful is usually something you figure out with your co-founder or with your product managers. And this is basically, will people pay for that? Will people use that, right? And this is the hard part, really hard part, because that means product market fit and all those weird startup terms that people use these days. Then you have to be usable. This is what you do with your designers, and you make it nice and friendly, and make sure nobody trips on anything, and nobody throws phones at walls when they use your app. That's a thing. And delightful. And this we forget too often. So there's a couple of people that do it great. There's a couple of people who really try to do it great, and it looks really awkward because of that. But delightful is the hard part, and delightful is also the thing that people usually forget. And the point in being delightful is understanding context. So when you understand the user's context, it's really easy to be delightful and to create the wow effect. And when you adapt to context, it's great. So this is a quote from Wikipedia on computer systems. The term adaptation in computer science refers to a process in which an interactive system adapts its behavior to individual users based on information acquired about its users and its environment. So basically, you take in all the data you can about the user, which we still do, and everyone collects all the data anyway, but then turn it into good user experience. Why not? This is called adaptive interfaces, or proactive interfaces, or about 4 more headlines in the blogs, and nobody can decide what it is. I'm just going to call it proactive and adaptive, because why not? And who started, like, the biggest player in this for the long time was Google, with Google Glass. This is from Google Glass design guidelines. It's deliver information at the right place at time for each of your users. The most relevant experiences are also the most magical and lead to increased engagement and satisfaction. There's an engagement there, but this is a different engagement, right? This is not like, hey, look at our app, we have a new blog post. This is engagement that people actually care about. Where are the cats? I don't see cats. Okay. Why do we do it? We do it because real-time, hands-on, proactive experiences seem to be on a rapid pace to becoming everyday customer experiences. They're becoming the expectation. So our users are going to expect that we know where they are, who they are, and how to adapt the experience to them. And the emergence of proactive experiences is tied to changing role of technology plays in our lives. So we have a smartphone. I actually don't have a watch that's like this. But well, a lot of you probably have those watches that also know how fast you breathe, which is kind of scary. But so let's get back to that. Relevant experiences are magical. And the good news is we have the technology for that. And we kind of have the processes. It's not that easy. And doing it right is really hard. Like, really hard. Really. So let's talk about technology. Each of you carries a tracking device in your pocket. Like, if you went 30 years ago to a person and told them, hey, you know, you're going to have this thing in your pocket that's going to know where you are, who you are, what did you buy, what did you eat for breakfast, and how many photos of your breakfast you've posted this morning, which is also a thing now. So 30 years ago, people would be like, what? Like, what? What do you mean? And now we have those devices that have all these sensors. This is an iPhone 6. I'm not sure what iPhone 7 has, but there's a proximity sensor, there's an ambient light sensor, there's a camera, of course, which you've seen because selfie. There's an accelerometer, there's a gyroscope, compass, barometer. I don't know why iPhones have barometers. Does anyone know? Is it only for like system things, or can you actually use it as like put it on your shelf like my grandma used to do to see what the pressure is of the air? That would be great. Like, that would be the fanciest barometer in your home. And NFC for Apple Pay. So iPhones have NFC, which, like, Apple generally says NFC is bad, but they have NFC, but they don't let you use it because it's only for Apple Pay. I don't know. There's a fingerprint scanner, which never works, at least for me. Maybe it's my weird fingers. And there's a pressure-sensitive display now. But wait, there's more. And there's beacons. Any of you used beacons before? Bluetooth beacons? Good, couple of hands up. So for the rest of you, Bluetooth beacons are basically this thing you put on a wall and talks to devices over Bluetooth. And because of that, you can know where the person is, kinda. It's the Bluetooth protocol and beacon protocol is not that great at that, apparently. But you can tell for sure how long they stayed there, which beacons. You can actually triangulate proximity from a couple of beacons. So you have like 2 beacons, and you can tell this gets more signal, this gets less signal, so someone's closer to the other one. And This is a big thing. I come from Krakow originally. I live in Berlin, but I come from Krakow. And Krakow is like Beacon Valley of Poland. We have like 3 companies that sell beacons. 2 of them went through some big accelerators, and they have actual clients. So I know a bunch about beacons. And then you have this thing, right? Now you have like even more of this thing, because this is the old one. I didn't really have time to prepare for the new one, because there's a new one now that has even more sensors. And so this knows everything about you. And the new one even has GPS. So you're going to have a GPS tracker on your arm, right? Which is kind of weird, because like GPS trackers only carrying them around on your arm with your phone is weird enough. On your arm is even weirder. You have HomeKit. That's actually not in HomeKit icon, I think. But you have HomeKit and you have Google Home thing, where you can know what temperature people sleep in and stuff like that. And it's really scary, but also really useful for like user experience if you want to provide data to your system. You have Apple Health and Google Health, which for me is kind of crossing the line. Like, I don't really want Apple to know that my heart rate right now is crazy because I'm speaking on a stage in front of a lot of people, because this is, yeah. Okay, and then you have Google Home, which is this thing that looks like a vase. I would probably, like in this picture, I would probably have problem where to put the flowers. But, but basically, this thing is supposed to be like your home hub, where you talk to it and it's organizing everything, and it's magical. It's like home of the future from the 60s, if you've ever seen those videos, basically. There's Amazon Alexa that listens to everything you say all the time. And yeah, I get why they do that, but it's, I don't know. No. I would whisper at home, like if I had. And last but not least, you have smart fridges. So there's this whole Twitter called the Internet of Shit, and there's this blog called fuckyeahinternetfridge.tumblr.com. And they collect the most ridiculous experiences and products that are smart. So there's like this is an LG fridge that's super new with the Windows, whatever, 10, I think, the new one. And it has Microsoft Edge, because everyone always wanted to browse your Twitter feed on your fridge, right? Because that makes sense. I don't know in which world that makes sense, but apparently it makes sense for some engineers. So let's make it a thing and do a hashtag fridge selfie, if you have one of those. And I always wanted to browse Facebook on my fridge using Microsoft Internet Explorer, said nobody ever. So let's recap. Everything is connected right now. Your watch is connected, your phone is connected, your fridge is connected, your home is connected, your sensors at home are connected. Wow, that's a lot of cats. Sorry, I got distracted. But that's a lot of cats. Good job, whoever did that. So everything is connected, so let's leverage the data that's already there. So a lot of those things have APIs that you can talk to and get your data and make the experience the best out there. And let's make those smart devices really smart, because right now they're not really smart, they're just called smart. And if they actually know more about you, they can be smarter and smarter, because being smart is about gathering data and processing the data. Let's talk about the process now. The process is, as every experience design project, you have to first understand the user. So who is this person? Why are they using our product? What's the whole idea of them using our product? Why? What's their goals? What's their ideas? And then you understand the context. So you gather all the data. That's actually really good. The talk by Tiffany a while ago, that was really good, because you could see how they took all the data they had already to understand the context of the user and where's the problem. And that's exactly this, except with us, it's offline data as well. So kind of offline. So what happens in your home? Where are you? Who are you? What's the temperature? What's the pressure? What's the whatever? What's your heart rate? And understand goals within this context. And for that, there's this thing called Jobs to be Done framework. This is an innovation framework. That's what it's called. But basically, you use this. Anyone used this before? Jobs to be Done framework. It's really cool. Jobs to be Done framework is basically saying that if your product was a person, what job would it be hired to do? And because of that, you have main jobs, and you have related jobs of your products, and you have the functional aspect of a job, so someone needs to, I don't know, buy groceries, and you have emotional aspect of the job usually, which means how does this person feel when they're doing this job with your product, and then you have personal dimension of it, where how does this customer feel about the solution they are getting from you. There's a social dimension as well, which is how the customers believe they're perceived by the others while using your solution. And because of that, you can just break it down to like really simple jobs. What's the personal aspect? What's the emotional aspect? What's the functional aspect? Then collect all this data and find higher purpose. So usually there's a higher purpose. Like nobody buys lawnmowers just to cut the grass. They buy the lawnmowers to have their house look nice, right? So let's look at the job description or job statement, as they call it. So there's a job statement from Jobs to be Done framework. This is find the train on the station I've never been to before. Or actually at the station, but my English was broken at this point when I did the slide, sorry. So let's look at this. And this is called action, object of action, and context of action. Speaking about context, this is the context station I've never been to before. Object of action is the train, and the action is the find. And this whole thing is called this job statement, right? So you take your product, and you just break it down into those jobs. And you try to find actions, objects of action, and context of your users. And then you find the functional aspect, which is find the train, an emotional aspect, which is being lost in a place you've never been to before, and people are scary, and they don't speak your language, and stuff like that, right? And actually, the first speakers, one of them has this Tumblr called thingsdojobs.tumblr.com, which is really cool, which is like the greatest thing I've seen today. It's basically taking things that are kind of outdated, like boarding passes, and showing you how the phones replaced them, right? So if you have a minute to browse, go for it. It's super cool. You have like boarding passes, calendars, calculators, like you have everything in your pocket now. The right one is always a phone. It's pretty cool. Probably could be a watch soon. I don't know. Anyway, so then you map out the context, map out the path from the current context to the goal being met. And this is designing the experience for Lego. I think that was in one of the blog posts about Jobs to be Done framework, and it was really good. Like, you basically map out all the steps, like really tiny steps, and emotions and places where you can turn this experience into a positive experience. And you have make or break moments. So the points where if you do it wrong, the people won't come back ever. So this is this thing, and then there's finding a broadband provider, one of the examples from the Jobs to be Done framework, which also shows you emotional experience and thoughts and feelings. So you have phases of the journey, which is inquiry, which is basically looking, comparison, comparing all the options, purchase, buying the option, and installation. In this last one, the installation, if you ever lived in Germany, this is the most terrible. Like, you wait 3 months for a guy to come and see if your thing in the wall is okay. And it's because it can only be done in one company in Germany, it's like you wait 6 months just to get you get your router and you can't plug it in because it doesn't work. So here you just map out the emotional experience and you map out thoughts and feelings of this person, how they feel, what they think. Because of that, you can really well figure out how can you fix the problem and where the problems are. So anticipate needs, provide guidance, and remove friction. There was like a research project, an idea project, let's call it, we did when I worked with a company in Berlin, which I can't name, but if you know German branding, you'll probably figure it out. There was a thing where People get lost all the time on the trains. Like the train is late, you don't know when, if you have a connecting train and it runs away, and you don't know what's going to happen, if you're going to stay somewhere or not, or is there a hotel provided because your train was late? Is there any alternative means of communication because your train was late? I don't know how it works here, but in Germany, getting stranded in a weird train station happened to me already twice, and I only lived there for 2 years. So there was this idea for a solution where you could have beacons and location tracking of the user. So you can guide them step by step through the process of getting onto the right train, finding the right track, finding the right car, finding the right seat, and if they get stranded somewhere, helping them, right? So this is actually an idea of a beacon in the train that shows you what train it is, and is it your train? Are you on the wrong track? And if you're in the wrong track, turn around and walk down to platform 3, right? And then you get to the car, and the car tells you, welcome on board, your seat number is 44. So this is a relevant experience, and relevant experiences are magical, that we already established. This is probably the most relevant experience. Service issues. Sorry, but your train's going to stop in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to be stranded, and you don't know what you're doing. This is basically what it says, but it says it in more like lawyer language. So how can your app help then? I'm just going to... It tells you what happened. It tells you why it happened. It tells you where it's going to happen, so you kind of know where you're going to get stranded or you're going to be late. It shows you the alternative trains that you can take to be there somewhat on time. It also shows you the car rental and the map. Where's the car? Because in Germany, you can rent cars on train stations really often, so it basically shows you, hey, here's car. It's going to take 4 hours and 50 minutes instead. That's how you drive. Here's your map. And if you want to stay, it also shows you the hotels nearby. So if you really want to stay in Frankfurt for a bit, it shows you the hotels and leads you where can you stay. So as a user, those are the questions you should ask. As a user, what interface would you expect? Like, is a phone app really good? Should we have location tracking? Should we have watch app? Should we have a website? Should we have something on board, like Ed and Spiekermann from Berlin, they did a really cool thing in Amsterdam, I think, where the problem was that people were really crowding in really weird places on the train platforms. And because of that, they couldn't, the whole onboarding process of the people to the train was terrible. So all they did basically was put the huge screens on top where the train comes, that before the train comes show you where it's going to stop and where the doors are, and where the carts are. So how do you get on this train? And do we even need interface for this? Because some experiences are best when they're never experienced. That was about an hour ago from Tiffany Conway. Let's talk about common pitfalls. Being greedy, so asking for a lot of data. This is Facebook. Apps that connect with Facebook. I don't know why. Some newsletter app is asking me for my friends list. I don't want to give them that. A lot of people do that. Don't do that, please. Forgetting edge cases. Edge cases are always tricky with this context. In the context of our context, it's really hard because you can make a lot of wrong assumptions. So Facebook famously did this thing where they shown people like dead pets because someone took a photo a year ago that their pet died. And then, I hope you had a great year. Here's your dead cat from a year ago. Great, amazing. Also, no internet connection, no connection in general, problems of different nature. Business over user, this is GoPro. Like, really. Like, trying to sell me stuff all the time. Like, don't do that, please. And being a creep. So, being a creep, it's super easy to be a creep. It's super easy to be this app that knows way too much and lets you know in totally wrong times that it knows all these things. So don't do that. It's scary. And here's a random photo of a doge stuck in a bush while maintaining positive attitude, because why not? I mean, that happened in Japan, obviously, because nobody has those nice hedges like that. But this dog is my spirit animal now. Like, he's stuck. Look how high he's stuck, and he's super positive about it. Let's look at some examples that do it right. Google Now. You can love or hate Google Now. I'm really impressed by this feature that tells you, like, you have a meeting in 35 minutes, you're going to be late if you don't leave now. It's super useful. When you're busy, when you're a busy person, it's super useful. This is a thing from Facebook that's basically your personal assistant. It's a chatbot where you can talk and buy stuff. And like, hey, I want to buy something for my friends and for my friends' kids, and they have enough toys. It responds, what about shoes? And gives you a link to buy shoes. It's super cool. Apple Store. Apple Store, in the States at least, has this thing where when you walk into the Apple Store, your Apple Store app, instead of showing you buy iMac, it shows you this. Welcome to Apple Store. Here's Easy Pay. Here's how you can get in line for help. Here's how you get in line for Genius Bar. Here's what's happening in this shop. That's super cool. Then you have, I think this is Magic. Magic is basically a thing where you talk to it and it buys stuff for you. Or we had this thing in Berlin called Butler as well for a bit, where it was amazing because I don't speak German really, even though I lived there for such a long time. And German Butler basically could schedule appointments for me where the only option was calling. And when the only option is calling and you don't speak the language, no. So you could basically send an SMS and they would do it for you. It was super cool. Nest. Nest learns a lot. It knows when you come home. It turns down, up the temperature. Still no cats. Anyway. So this is a really cool. There's also a Tado here in Europe. I never used it. I actually should try it because it's a German product. Maybe it works in German market. And then let's look at the Pipe Dream. Remember that? That's Google Glass. That's what they wanted Google Glass to be, but it never was. It kind of fell apart before it happened. So it reminds you what you have to do, what the weather is, just by looking out the window. This is a weird sandwich. I never had.
Yeah.
I never knew anyone who wants to.
Meet me in front of Strand Books at 2.
This is super cool. I want that. I want more
Oh
of that.
man, really?
Hey there, guy. Hey there, little guy.
Sweet. Remind me to buy tickets for Monsieur Gano tonight.
I hope this would work that way.
Where's the music section? Oh, yes, this is it. Is Paul here yet? Huh. Hey, dude, how's it going?
Want to go check out that new place I was telling you about?
Sure.
This truck's really good.
Hey, just a second. Cool.
Good to see you again.
Thanks, man.
Just got a new place in Outfit City.
See you, dude. Whoa, cool. Take a photo of this. Share it to my circles.
Nobody does sharing to their circle. Never did.
Oh, I'm running late. Music, stop.
Hi, what's up?
Hey,
Hey.
you want to say something cool?
Yeah, sure. Is that a ukulele?
Yep. Okay, here goes.
That's beautiful.
So this video was obviously really cheesy, but also there's a couple of really cool ideas in there. So let's talk about future because we have like a minute and 50 seconds left. Conversational interfaces. So things that talk to you, bots, chatbots. There's going to be a talk about chatbots in the tech section. I'm probably going to go because I'm really interested in chatbots and how they're going to turn out. Fun fact, people doing chatbots raised $170 million so far this year in Silicon Valley. So if you're wondering where the investors put their money, there. Future augmented reality, there's I don't know why this link is here, but okay. Okay, Pokemon Go more of it, because Pokemon Go is the thing that shows that virtual reality is not that fun, but augmented reality and catching fake creatures on your phone with in real places is really cool. Even more data hubs, so there's going to be even more data coming from the users because everyone wants to collect all the data all the time. Standardized protocols, this is a big thing because everyone has a different protocol by now. So HomeKit, don't even get me started. Super hard to implement anything when you have Philips light bulbs, HomeKit devices, and like different Nest or whatever it's called. And then there's iOS has this NS user activity and user intents by now, when you can figure out the context. Books worth reading if you want to get started on this thing. Designed for real life. This is really cool. This is not about adaptive UX, but this is about all the things that can happen in real life that we're usually not accounting for. Aaron Walter, Designing for Emotion. It's about emotional design and how to make stuff fun for people. And a quote for the end, live in the future and build what's missing. Thank you. That's a 100 slide. Woo!
Thank you, Mariusz. Okay. Very nice. I'll go to the floor first. Do you have any questions up there at the end of this talk? Kind of hard to see, isn't it? Yes, here you are, sir.
On two? Yeah,
Yep.
okay. So I remember in the distant past, Microsoft tried to do something like this, trying to figure out what you're doing and help you with it, called Clippy.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see that everybody trying to do it? How easy is it to get it wrong?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's why I said it's really, really hard to get it right. The problem with Clippy was that it didn't really have any data on you except what you're typing. And there was like a lot of those really weird jokes about Clippy. Not sure if you remember, like it looks like you're writing a suicide letter. Would you like to call a hotline or something?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's really hard. Yeah, it's really, really hard. Getting the data and parsing the data is all about, like being smart is basically all about that. And getting it wrong is really hard. And that's why I recommend this Design for Real Life book, because it has all the weird edge cases and how you can account for them.
I'm interested in what you talked about creepiness.
Yes.
And that when you figured something out, I read this story that like through data mining, like Target or Walmart in America could work out when someone was pregnant.
Yes.
And but if they sent a coupon, that was too creepy, right? Because people didn't want that they'd worked it out.
That wasn't the problem, though. You know what the problem was?
Yeah, I read the book too. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So the problem is that you couldn't let on that you'd work that out, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if you had some examples around that when the apps are like giving away too much, or you've worked out something that is too weird.
Yeah, the Target example is a perfect one, because I'm not sure if you guys know the story, but it's basically that they received a coupon that someone's pregnant. That was a daughter that didn't tell their parents, and this is creepy.
Right,
And
so
don't.
Target can work out based off what you buy,
Big data.
with a certain percentage. They're sending out coupons for like baby carriages and stuff, and then people are getting all upset, like, how do you know I'm pregnant? Because through data mining. So that's an example of being too creepy with what you're giving to the customer.
Amazon is also really creepy right now. Like the suggestions I'm getting, they're pretty cool based on what I buy.
Yeah.
But I don't have this option of not telling them this is a gift.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, my wife sometimes uses my iPad, and she goes, like, oh, why are you buying this stuff? I'm like...
Does that not mean the problem's really with you, though, rather than Amazon's suggestions? But, okay, so...
No, it is, because I want to buy stuff and not tell. And
Sure.
just by using the app, she can figure out that I was buying some stuff.
Right, is that similar to Netflix as well? People are worried about their recommendations and so forth on
Yeah.
different people. Okay. Anybody else want to ask something of Mariusz?
Okay,
Cool.
cool.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Round of applause one more time for Mariusz. Thank you.